Hi everyone, I'm Carlo from Downtown Music here in Sydney, Australia, and welcome to our YouTube demos. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a guitar lead. Previously, I've done a YouTube demo showing you the difference between a guitar lead and a speaker lead. But hey, let's get to actually making one and see how hard it is, or if you've got a guitar lead at home and you want to repair it, that's what it's all about. Firstly, let's get some tools together. What you're going to need is a soldering iron, a good pair of cutters, obviously some solder. I do have a measly bit of tape here, insulation tape. There's only a little bit, enough to make one guitar lead for you. And what I've actually done is prepared up a few leads already cut up so we don't take too long, and they've already got the end spliced. As you can see, it's a 2-core lead where it's got just a center core. As you can see, this is a guitar lead where it's got an earth conductor on the outside and a center core that's shielded. So you know that you're working on a guitar lead today. All right, moving along. What else I have here? I've actually gone out and found some really big jack plugs to make it a bit easier for video's sake. And I'll undo that for you to see what you've actually got there. There's actually a plastic sleeve just to insulate it from the chassis once you put the plug casing on. That's what it looks like. In here we have, this is the tip and this is the sleeve, or this is the earth part and that is the positive part. Okay, the positive part is connected to this center piece here, and the earth is connected to the outside, which is this part here. Okay, so let's put all that down. I hope you've got all that together. All right, now the first thing we do, well, just to show you, here is a guitar lead that's already made up, and I'm just going to hopefully pull that apart. There we go, and get rid of that. Now, this being a slightly different sort of plug. Oh, there you go, and there's a bit of plastic on there that they've had, so let me just cut that off for you so you can see what we're doing. Get rid of that. Okay, so as you can see, same as that other lead, we've got two eyes, the outside earth and the center core, which is the positive conductor. Now that center one's going to get connected to this tip, and the earth is going to get connected to the outside. Okay, so that's a pre-made lead already. So let's work with this. And what you'll probably find funny, and you'll do it no matter how many years you've been making leads for, you'll probably find that you'll finish making the lead and forget to put the cap on. So the first thing you've got to do is make sure you put that part of the plug on, thread it through the lead, so you've got it on there before you start. The next part you've got to put on is that plastic shielding. So you thread that through there. Okay, so that's what it should look like even before you start soldering. If you've got a plug on the other end, the new plug, that's what it should look. And make sure you've got it on the right way, so when you put the plug on, you haven't put it on back to front, so you could actually, you don't want to be putting it on that way because you won't be able to screw it on. So let's get back to this. Make this as quick as possible for you. Hey, now, preparation, preparation, preparation. That's all I can say. Now, if you get yourself together, you've got yourself a bit of solder. I'm just going to rip a little bit off here to make it easy. Now, this solder's already got flux in it. I'm just doubling it up for a little bit fatter bit of solder, because actually it's quite thin, this thing here that I'm using. Now, when I say preparation, soldering iron is already been on for 5 minutes, and it's nice and warm. I've got the plug down here, and first thing I'm going to do is get the leads prepared and get the plug prepared, and that's by putting solder on them before I start. And this is actually called tinning. Okay, now guys, put the flat bit of the soldering iron on the bit you want to put some there, and as you put the solder on, check this out. That's nice and shiny, and it's got a little bit of solder on there. How cute. That's pretty cool. Now let me do, that's the earth part I've just done. Now we're going to go through and do the positive bit. Same sort of thing. get a bit of solder on there, so nice and shiny. Try not to be on there for too long. Okay, so that plug there is prepared, all ready to go. I don't have to use any extra solder for when I put the lead on, hopefully. So just put the soldering iron back here. Now let's grab the lead. Now to give you an idea, this lead is already prepared. I'm just going to open up the back part of the plug that's going to hold the cable. And as you can see, by putting that there, the earth and the center conductor have been cut at the right lengths to feed through. Let's feed it through there. So if I can put the positive up there, and I can put the earth down on the bottom, and they're just going to go straight on there without too much difficulty, and this will then clamp onto the lead. So if you cop any pulling, it'll still survive a few pulls anyway. All right, so let me go through. As you can see, this cable here has already been tinted. I've already put a bit of solder on it prior to this, but let me just go through and put a little bit more so you can see what I've done. Sometimes I leave the solder there on the reel so it's nice and easy. Okay, we're just going to put a little bit on there, a little bit more so it's nice and shiny. Okay, and a little bit more on the earth so it's nice and shiny as well. How cool is that? Now always just shake off any excess solder that you might have on your soldering iron. You don't want any excess solder on there, but it's just going to, so I just put it back in the stand and get rid of some solder there. Okay, so we're basically ready to go to make this guitar lead. So I'm going to now thread that through. If I put it through there, okay. And as you can see, once again, they're basically nearly in position just to get soldered straight on there without too much solder, as you can see. Perfect. All right, so let's do that. Let's first do the earth. Now, once again, try not to have the soldering iron on there for too long. That's why we've already tinted the plug and tinted the cable with solder already. Excess heat is just going to burn that center core inside the cable here, and we're going to have a short, and it's not going to work. Okay, you might think you've done the right job and it might look all perfect, but if you put too much heat with a soldering iron, you're going to stuff it. All right, so let's move back here. I'm going to put the earth on. Let me thread it through again. Now, before I even touch the earth on there, I'm going to heat the bottom part up again. Can you guys see that? So I'm heating the bottom, okay, and then I'm just grabbing the earth and pushing it down. Hey, what a great job that is. I couldn't have asked for a better job on TV. How's that? Okay, and keeping in mind, see the black cable? It's still behind this here where it's going to grab here on the plug, which will give it a bit more support. And look at that. I don't have to go too far to get my positive onto the positive. Here we go. So I'm just pushing it forward a little bit to make sure it's right where I want it to be. First, I'm going to heat up the center core so it just melts the solder. Then I'm just going to place the conductor straight on top. Here we go. Quickly melt that, quickly put that on top, and there's a beautiful job. That's a nice shiny bit of solder. Now, if all goes to plan, check this out. Okay, so now we need some long nose pliers. Don't try and tighten that with that. Get long nose pliers. Long nose pliers. Here, thank you. Tightening it up so obviously if we pull on the lead, it's got a bit of support here. Okay. Now, see that? That's a beautiful solder joint. I'm just going to bend that down so it's nice and straight. Now you can, depending on what sort of lead, you can go through and do this, but you don't have to, okay? This is like an extra precaution where what I do is I thread a little bit of tape through there, put it down, go across there, and then I cut it off. Okay, and now what that does, that's a bit of an extra precaution. It actually seals it from touching the conductor. So for example, if this lead ever copped a really bad bend, it's not going to actually touch the earth. Now that's an extra precaution. You don't have to do that all the time, because guess what? That's what this sleeve is also for, that we put on there. Hopefully you haven't forgotten to put it on there. So we're just going to slide that over. How's that? Can you guys see that? So I've got a shielding on the earth from the positive touching the earth, and then we've got a shielding on the outside with this rubber bit of plastic here from stopping the positive touching the chassis once we screw it up. So then you put that on there, rock and roll. Now give me a second and we're just going to plug that in. Now if you've got a multimeter, you can quickly just check it. This multimeter has got what they call a continuity switch, so when you touch the two things together you get a tone. So that tells me that the wire is joined all the way through, all the way to the other side. So what do we want to do? We want to make sure that the positive is going to the positive, and the negative is going to the negative, and the negative and positive are not touching each other. Okay, so let's quickly do that. So if I put that down here, I'm going to put one pin on the positive. Now this is the same, if you've got an old analog multimeter, it's the same thing as you just put it on ohms, and when it reads a short and it's all the way over, that means it's both touching. So let's see. So we've got continuity there between the two tips. Now we're going to go between the two earth points. And we do. Now just to be on the safe side, we're going to just try the tip and the chassis. Thank God for that. Okay, it's all working. Let's just try the other side. But actually, if there was a short in either side, it'd show up when you touch one side, okay? So give us a sec. I'm just going to get an amp and we're going to plug it in and make sure it works. All right, so grab an amp, just your little guitar amp, just turn up the volume just a fraction. And just start. Hey. Hello. Check 1, 2. No. All right, so this guitar lead's working. It could be a patch lead, it could be a guitar lead. Go off and go and fix all your guitar leads that are broken. We'll see you soon. I'm Carlo from Downtown Music here in Sydney, and thanks for watching.